The only more famous TSN personality from Ottawa than James Duthie. Here he is, Jesse Palmer. Great to see you, Jesse. Well, it was a bit of an underwhelming game, but if you're a fan of defense and you're a fan of Vic Fangio, you're a pretty happy person right now. Is it possible for a defensive coordinator, Jesse, to win Super Bowl MVP? Because he was just incredible in the game plan he drew up to stop this Chiefs team.
He really was. And I think the thing I'll remember most about this was just defense wins championships, in case we all needed that reminder in an era of the National Football League where it's about passing and going fast and spreading it out and all the rule changes. The Eagles were absolutely dominant. And it was a masterpiece called by Vic Fangio in this game. 6 sacks on Patrick Mahomes. And I don't care who you are at quarterback, you will be affected when you get hit early and you get hit often. So you have to give the Eagles front four a ton of credit in this game. It was Smith, it was Sweat, it was Carter, everybody winning their one-on-ones and getting home. And I think the most crazy stat of the game, they never blitzed once. They were getting all of that pass rush with just 4 guys, 7 guys in coverage. Obviously, 2 critical Mahomes interceptions at the end of the first half really cost them in this football game. But defense still wins championships. And the job Vic Fangio did coming in first year as his D coordinator in Philadelphia, that was an absolute masterclass in defensive play calling.
I know Jalen Hurts has his detractors, but this is sweet redemption for him. And he joins Joe Montana as the only quarterbacks with 2+ passing TDs, 50+ rushing yards, and a rushing TD in a Super Bowl. How impressive was this performance by Hurts, Jesse?
Very impressive, sensational. Really, outside of the interception, I thought he was great. The ball barely touched the ground. He only threw 5 incompletions in this game. So really good job with the decision making. I thought he did a really nice job, too, being accurate under duress. We saw some really nice back shoulder throws. Obviously, the bomb touchdown to Devontae Smith was sensational as well. But just as good as he was throwing, he was also deadly running the football as well. I thought he did a really good job picking his moments to take off when there were lanes there to be had. 72 rushing yards for a quarterback. That's a Super Bowl record. And you got to give Jalen Hurts, you got to feel good for him too, because this was really a big performance in a big game. And that had been a bit of a question mark for Jalen Hurts throughout his career, whether it was in college or the pros. He lost the national championship game to Clemson early in his career, got benched at halftime for Tua, the championship that Bama did beat Georgia. And then, of course, he lost the Super Bowl a few years ago to Patrick Mahomes, even though he played sensational in that game. So for Jalen Hurts, with a left knee injury that may still not have been 100%, for him to play as well as he did in this game today and really have the season he had too, it was just sensational.
And then Nick Sirianni, Jesse, who started the season 2-2. Fans were calling for his job. He's arguing with fans at games. It was looking rough for Sirianni at some points in this season. And now he's beat Andy Reid, maybe the greatest coach of his generation, in a Super Bowl. And all this just in time for his contract to be up at the end of the next season. Did he just earn himself a big payday, Jesse?
Yeah, no doubt he did. It is amazing the difference a year makes, right? You go back to the end of last year, how they finished that season, and you mentioned it starting 2-2 this season as well. A lot of people calling for his head, but you got to give Nick Sirianni a lot of credit as well, because it was after the bye week that he made the conscious decision that they were going to change their identity on offense. They were going to run the ball, be physical, own the clock, use Saquon Barkley, and just play great defense and just win games in the trenches. And that strategy has paid off. You got to give the Eagles a ton of credit. And really, I think their upper level in management and GM, the way they built this thing. We talked about Vic Fangio. We talked in the drafting Cooper DeJean was obviously sensational, bringing in Zach Bond and free agency as well. All those guys made big plays in this game. And Saquon Barkley's the headliner. But I think from the X's and O's, the strategy in game, what Nick Sirianni was able to do this season was sensational. And they've got a core group of nucleus and talent on both sides of the ball. Probably going to have to go out and find a new offensive coordinator, considering Kellen Moore's likely taking the New Orleans Saints job as reported. But I mean, Nick Sirianni's got in place what he's built there. There's no reason to believe this Eagles team can't get back next season and win another Super Bowl. And if they do that, Nick Sirianni certainly will have a lot more money in his pocket.
Eagles and Chiefs currently co-favorites for next year's Super Bowl. So hopefully, if that actually comes to fruition, it's a more entertaining game. Jesse, always great chatting with you. Thanks for this, buddy.
You got it, man.